All right, everybody, welcome to the Scho-Zone. It's your host Ryan Schofield. Thank you for tuning in for a huge episode for me, or it's just a huge night for me, and I'm just really excited to share my day with you. Uh, Thanks everybody for tuning in. Been doing this a little bit more often, getting a little more followers. Even got a fan, I think. Chris, whoever you are, Chris, shout out to you. I like the engagement. Appreciate you listening. Spread the word. Subscribe. I'm gonna try and keep putting it out there for you since things are getting more and more exciting as I continue my ballpark tour. I just did my last week. I did the Nationals Park, which was terrible. And then this week, spur of the moment, kind of, I don't know why I was never going to do this in the first place, to be honest with you. Just decided on my birthday that I was going to buy tickets to see the Mets and Dodgers on Wednesday. Maybe I just wanted to I knew it wasn't going to be too urgent and I kind of wanted to game plan things a little better. But looked and saw like for $50, I could get a ticket on the third baseline, third level. And I was like, it's going to be a great look at Shohei. I was like, fuck yeah, let's do this. He's down there. 4 o'clock start time at Citi Field is absolutely amazing from where I come from because it's just a 3 hour drive down there. I didn't hit any traffic. I actually stopped on the way down there to meet up with a buddy of mine, a Mets fan, the guy who kind of acts as a producer to this at some point. I'm sure he'll critique this very, very much. Did not make an offer to him to do this full time. He's got some other things going on, it sounds like, that can probably pay him a lot more than I can pay him at the moment. He did give me an awesome gift, a David Eckstein bobblehead doll, which I forgot to put up here, but that's going to be a new prop or going to be a part of the set at some points. Right now, we're still utilizing the background, but gives a little bit of production value. There's a chance I might even have the video of, well, I'll describe this later, but of course I jump around. If you listen to me, this is what I do. And I'm sorry if this is your first time listening to me or watching. Just give me a chance. I might make it worth your while. 5 minutes. That's all I ask. So, me and my buddy met up at this diner, just, grabbed a quick bite. It is funny that he is a gambling buddy of mine, and we were at a diner and we got like the window seat. It had a very, very Goodfellas like feel to it, but nothing nefarious going down. No feds that I'm aware of. So, I make my trip down to Citi Field, get down there about an hour and a half early, do my little tour of the ballpark. I will say that it was perfect weather today, sunny day, but there was a little bit of cloud cover, but it was a sunny day. I got a beautiful picture I'm going to use as a thumbnail of Citi Field. It almost looks like a postcard. Uh, Not too busy to start off with, and again, New York City things work a little different, I guess. I realized that stuck out like a sore thumb. I mean, I'm curious what the input on this for anybody is. Feel free to leave it in the comments. Wearing this outfit to the opposing park when your team's not playing, the hat is always going to be a thing. I'm always going to wear the Cardinals hat. The way the weather was working today, I kind of wanted to have this on. I wore a shirt underneath that I was going to take off that was just a plain t-shirt. But the way the weather kind of worked out is that this was kind of the more comfortable thing, just kind of rolled up the sleeves. Walking into the field, nobody really says anything. Actually, walking into the stadium, I have a stadium worker that pulls up his arm, shows me his Cardinals tattoo. Another stadium worker says, "Go Cardinals." Third person says, "Go Cardinals." Feeling okay. Then I get to my seats and I realize that I'm going to be sitting in the middle of Mets and Dodgers fans. I try to I look at the Dodgers fans and I say, hey, I'm here to see Shohei, which is exactly what I'm there for. And the Mets fans, they kind of didn't even really seem like I knew what I was talking about. They kind of seemed like it might have been a date that wasn't really going too well or just a really boring couple or something. But that's neither here nor there. That's why I go by myself. The last thing I want is for me to have a bad time because somebody else isn't having a good time, or somebody else to have a bad time because I'm having too good of a time, or my good time is not their idea of a good time. I do this all myself. I just reap what I sow if anything goes wrong. And that's kind of the fun and the challenge of this whole going to the different ballpark things. And I love the ballpark in a day and back. Pretty much running out in the Northeast, but not my first time at Citi Field. I was there 2 years ago to watch Pete Alonso walk off the Cardinals on a fucking bomb. But didn't even really need to eat anything because I already just ate at the diner there. Citi Field's a little bit more expensive. What do you expect? We're in New York, obviously. $40 to park there, but it's nice because you just get right off, the roadways bring right into the parking lots. And then getting out of there was also not so bad today because again, when you're going in there for a 4 o'clock game and getting out at a 7 o'clock game, you miss some of the worst of it. But I also got there earlier. Uh, not the greatest of starts, and actually for the game and just for me on a personal level, I got my fantasy. That's not personal, but my fantasy baseball team. I had placed a same game parlay action, just a bunch of things, a little lotto ticket that involved Pete Alonso having a hit. Well, he got hit by a pitch, and he's one of the cornerstones of my fantasy team. He probably has some broken bones in his hand, I'd imagine. Hit him right on the knuckles. He looked more pissed off than hurt. Walked off the field, so killed my same game parlay. So no big meal tickets kind of going on, and also a blow to my fantasy team. And I also had another one that I had a first inning run scored. Nothing happening there. The big action, as you know, or if you are new to this one, me and a friend of mine, a Mr. Brotani, as he goes by on Twitter or at Monday Hines. I go at Scho525. That's SCHO525. We cracked a code a little while ago that Shohei Ohtani, for whatever reason, is just generally really good during daytime baseball, just much better than in daytime baseball than he is during nighttime baseball. We've tracked this for a while. I mean, it's cooled off a little bit. But it's had long term enough success that it's still not an aberration. It's still kind of works for whatever reason. His OPS, he turns into like Barry Bonds on steroids during the daytime, where he's just kind of like an all-star player at nighttime. So when you combine the two of those, you get the MVP. Well, maybe not the MVP this year, but when he's throwing and pitching, he's just. I just have to guess, segue to this, Ohtani. I just went on Pete Alonso for a bit. This was one of the more just, it wasn't a huge crowd, but it was a special crowd there because Ohtani, I mean, he's Japanese Jesus. Um, Most Japanese people or most Asian people I've ever seen at a baseball game, that's for sure. Um, Also with the Dodgers there, you got the Latino influence, which I was actually a point of the Dodgers fan sitting in front of me. He was talking to the other people behind me, and I couldn't really tell because this guy was wearing sunglasses, and I couldn't really, could have just been Italian. I don't really know, but he was looking at the people next to me, and I don't really, you know, tend to know exactly what race everybody is, or what, nationality every Latino race is. I'm probably being an asshole by even just saying what I just said there, but trying to be neutral here, doing the best I can in 2024. But he said that, yeah, if they were talking, they're a couple Dodger fans, and they were saying being Mexican makes you an even bigger Dodger fans. Or, I wanted to say I always hear the nickname the Doyers. Would I have been an asshole if I said that? I did not. But there was kind of like a little turning around. They're going, yeah, a bunch of Dodger fans here. And then I just kind of was like, yeah, and then somehow I ended up here. Everyone assumes you're from St. Louis. I am not, but I just said, hey, I'm here to see Shohei. He truly is kind of a spectacle. I mean, I'll tell you right now, if he was to stand next to NFL players, I mean, Shohei's a fucking giant. Very, very big, broad. I'm not going to get into the, let's just say posterior. Women might find it, he's got a little bit of a trunk there, I guess you would say. He's got to get his power from somewhere, but just really broad shoulders, big frame, tall guy, and runs like a gazelle pretty much too. When I saw him run a ground ball, but just the idea in general. I mean, I was able to go on a day and there were some of the best baseball players in the world in this game today because you also have Mookie Betts and you have Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman and Will Smith. Holy shit, what a day he had today. He had 2 home runs and a double today. That's Pujols type stuff for games I've been at. But what I was really there was for Shohei. So obviously the daytime Shohei bets, which is you have to bet him over 1.5 total bases. Completely left that part out of there for anybody who made it through that whole thing. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Over 1.5 total bases. And a lot of times, or in this case, because he was facing a left-handed pitcher, we got him at plus money. Now he has been slumping his past like 10, 11 games, facing a left-handed pitcher, but they did sit him out the second game of the doubleheader. I was not going to be that close to him the first time I'm seeing him and not get down with some crazy action. So my same game parlay is dead, but the Dodgers are winning, and it's kind of a fairly uneventful game to start out with. But then I don't know what happened with James Paxton. He did not pitch very long, and then also David Peterson for the Mets did not pitch very long. So we got to the bullpens fairly early in this game, and that's when things could go awry because it only just takes one or two bad. When you have 5 or 6 guys pitching, one of them's not going to have their stuff that day, and big league hitters can capitalize on that. Will Smith was really just hitting anything, but Ohtani. for his first at bat at the top of the first inning. He hits the one down the line. I'm looking at it and it looks like it's going to drop in the corner, probably be a double. And I forget who was out there. Tyrone Taylor, maybe it was, makes the catch. Tyrone Taylor, I don't know. Again, maybe a conversation I shouldn't have, but I just changed my description to say it's not always safe in here. Is he white? Is Tyrone a name that a white person's allowed to have? Is this a topic that's been covered that I just kind of missed because I kind of ignore all things Mets? Anyone feel free to let me know about this. But anyways, hell of a catch. So that's not a good start there. Actually, the Dodgers, 1, 2, 3 inning was not feeling so hot. And then again, Pete Alonso getting hit and him going down. So we're off to a not so good start. Then Ohtani, his second at bat, I think was like a little like lazy grounder. So then I actually got to the point where I had moved over to a different spot. Actually, I noticed that there was a better angle and view. And if you're follow like my Instagram, which is Sco525, I've got these stories up, which will probably disappear, but I'll save the videos. I may have posted some of these as shorts. Yeah, I posted some of these as shorts as well on the page. I got this nice angle of him, and he hit his RBI single, so I got his one total base. At this point, I think it was 3-1 Dodgers or something. And then Tomas Nido hits a blast, and I actually had moved it's at one point down to all the way to the end of the third base side, down to the left field. Just because once I got out of my seat, I didn't really feel like troubling anybody. There was this real giant douchebag that was in front of me. Well, the one Dodger fan, and if you happen to see the video that I'm going to post, and you see this weird like hand motion in a shirt, I don't know what the hell this guy was doing, but we'll get to that video that you may or may not see. It's on my shorts anyways, but you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But there was this guy, and there was the Mets fan there. He was friends with a Mets fan. It was a Dodgers fan and a Mets fan. Mets fan really, really did not seem to receive me doing this. Nobody else really seemed to give me shit. I didn't even really have anybody paying attention. But I will say, wearing Cardinals red in a Dodgers Mets game, which is a very blue crowd, it was kind of like Where's Waldo. If you were to get a picture of the panoramic, you probably would be able to spot me because I don't think anybody else is wearing this. But that's okay. I think it's why I want to make this my signature outfit. I'll just go into every MLB stadium wearing this outfit, and maybe I'll become Cardinals guy. And maybe people will hate me as much as foul ball guy. Probably not. He's a much bigger douchebag. I'm just there to gamble and maybe eat something, but not today at Citi Field. It's just, so neither here nor there. There was an incident with, that guy where they stood up and they couldn't, I was asking them what they were looking for because they were clearly looking for something. And the guy said sunglasses, and both of them, just like I did at that time, had their sunglasses through their jacket, little, like, or little zip there. And I happened to say to him, like, yeah, they're in your shirts. And the other guy, thought I was talking to him. And then I just kind of sat there and just kind of gave a blank stare. Then the other guy realized that his shades were also, in fact, there. And then he kind of gave me a look and he said, eh, you're not quite there or something. He's like, you'll get there one of these days, Cardinals fan, or you're almost close or something. Like, just kind of like, yeah, dude, I'm not trying to like be friends with you. I'm just trying to tell you to basically stop standing in people's fucking way looking for sunglasses that are right in front of you. Have another cocktail, which that's another big thing too. I guess no, I'm gonna say I'm just focused with Shohei. So I get to this other, side now. I'm convinced because I got a really good video from the one spot. But when I went back to that next spot to get that or Shohei's next at bat, I missed or the security guards kind of took my spot, and I wasn't exactly going to take it from security. So I went back down all the way, which I still had a good view, but I got to see a strikeout. Jake Diekman, Shohei's kryptonite, gets him down. And now it's getting kind of dicey because I am not guaranteed another at bat from Ohtani. And I did in-game the Dodgers when it was 3-3. I forgot if I mentioned that. Sorry, my storytelling is not always the greatest, especially when I don't have anybody in the room to steer me on course. And I just started traveling. I've been having a long day for 12 hours, but bear with me almost at the end. I the Dodgers kind of going a little flurry there where all of a sudden I believe it. I want to say it was top eight or maybe it was top nine. I can't even remember at this point. I just know that Ohtani gets up to bat again. And it was back in my seat at this point, and I'm thinking, okay, if he doesn't get this here, if he does or he does get it, I'm out of here because the game had started off at a pretty fast pace and had taken a long time because of some pitching changes. And I just really wanted to beat the initial or beat the not that there was a huge crowd at Citi Field. I just wanted to get ahead of the line of cars and just get on my way and get home by 10 o'clock, which I basically did. So Ohtani gets up. He takes a really healthy cut, which I was like, oh, he's looking to go to the right field wall. His next pitch, he fouls one off down the right field line. Weird kind of cut. Looks like he kind of hurt himself. Ducks out for a second. Here I am. All I want is I drove all the way to see this guy. I've been lauding him as one of the greatest. I've been defending him through all of the negative stories, and still standing by his side and exposing the truth that's on his side, that he is, in fact, not been involved in any gambling, and that he's just in fact one of the best baseball players to ever walk this earth, and that he's really a global icon. And the fact that I am lucky enough to be able to sit in this stadium, which I don't know how many, maybe 30,000 people or so, but there's people around the world that are watching Mr. Ohtani or Shohei or Japanese Jesus, whatever we want to call him, because I'd imagine if you're Japanese and you like baseball, you probably follow him a little bit. And what happens all of a sudden? If you watch the video, if I it's linked in here somewhere, or maybe I'll have the video show up. That's what I'm going to try. If I succeed in this will be amazing with my opening graphic of my firsthand view through my camera. Again, I kind of held up my camera and I was watching over it, but he goes opposite field and hits the bomb. And honestly, at this point, he just stole the show. I mean, I think it was a heavy Dodger crowd, but I think that everyone in the building at that point, because the Mets had blown it, and most Mets fans are pretty down and out. And there he is, like, just almost like you can hear the natural music going off. And like, I got to see one of the best baseball players ever, and he lived up to the bill in the biggest, not in Yankee Stadium, but still in the big city. Which that's been some of the big times I've done it. I mean, when I was a kid, whenever I used to see, my mom used to go to Shea Stadium. I went down there a few times, or maybe just once. I don't remember, maybe twice. But Chipper Jones used to always show up there. Chipper Jones, Hall of Famer. Well, he was a big time guy. The first time I ever saw Albert Pujols, he homered. That's big time shit. Andrew McCutchen stands out as somebody who I saw. He made an amazing catch in one game. I was at a doubleheader, and then he hit a home run that actually was my cue to leave, because the Pirates were destroying the Cardinals at that point in a drive from Pittsburgh to Rochester. When maybe you just were starting to tire out a little bit because you stopped drinking a couple hours before to sober up for the car ride, which you probably still weren't sober anyways, but you don't drink anymore, so that's the most important part. But Ohtani does it. But I will say, Bryce Harper, the first time I saw you in person, 0 for 4. Never really liked you that much. I'm warming up to you. Maybe I don't know if it's that you're growing up, or maybe that it's I'm growing up. Maybe it's, if I can change and you can change, we can change type thing. Who knows? But baseball is just wonderful, I must say. And I'm just gonna keep on doing this. I have plans next week to go see Fenway Park with my mother at the to see the Braves. And it's just, it's my nice little journey. And I mean, hopefully my mother does not ruin the trip, or I do not ruin her trip, but that's going to be, I'd imagine that's going to be a nice memory on that one, especially when I teach my mom about what a same game parlay is, because we're going to have to get down on something. But, hit the Dodgers bet there, hit the Shohei Ohtani home run, hit the Shohei Ohtani total bases, 1.5. And that's just going to keep fueling the fun train. We got to keep making trips. I'm narrowing it down right now whether I'm gonna do Milwaukee just as a standalone. I've already seen the White Sox play this year. I'm 2 hours away from Chicago to see that. It's not that hard to work a trip where I can go Milwaukee one night, Chicago the next night, and then fly back to Albany the next night to get 2 parks in 2 days. I've already seen the White Sox play this year. Maybe I'll save it for a time when they're a little better. But I think I'm gonna be seeing the Phillies in that Milwaukee game. But really, I have the 24th to the 26th off. So if any fans of the show, I mean, there's a couple of you out there, the subscribers are going up. Thank you so much for doing that. I can go to any ballpark in America those days. Which one should I go to? Or I have Milwaukee pegged because it's a cheap flight, but if there's somewhere cheaper to go, or somebody has a ballpark, maybe they want to meet up, maybe I'll meet a fan at a ballpark. Let's do that. If you want to meet me in Milwaukee on the 24th, that could probably be a good time. There's a casino nearby. That could be some fun. But that's really, actually, I wanted to end on this one. I did just have my birthday, and I'll tell you, birthdays are not as fun as they used to be for me anymore. A large part because I was always a big time partier, and I really don't know what to do on my birthday because I have it so much associated with that one. If I could do anything, I would assume go to a baseball game. There's something to this one. I've always really liked baseball. And I remember, I had some going through some times where, I was, let's just say I was in AA. I went to some AA meetings. Did not like it. Not going to say if you like it. If you like AA, if AA works for you, by all means, give it a try. If you're having some help, if you whatever it may be for you. I went to the worst AA meeting ever, and I had relapsed my first time at a Cardinals game, and I was just gotten back from Missouri, and it was I was kind of mentioning the whole little story, and this one guy pulled me aside afterwards and told me I need to give up baseball or I need to stay away from baseball because it's always gonna cause me to do that. And I almost kind of had like the Homer Simpson moment where they were kind of like, he was like, he was like, after you're done with this meeting, you're never going to drink beer ever again. I was fine with never drinking again, but never doing baseball again. That shit scared me. So that's almost kind of they say you need to find that power. I guess baseball is my power. Am I getting that fucking weird and sentimental on this one? As I'm stoned on marijuana, who knows? That's actually, yeah, that's what's coming out of my mouth right now. So I do like the idea because when I do go to these baseball games, I will tell you the kid sitting next to me, he did grab a beer at one point, and there is something about a beer at a ball game. It doesn't even have alcohol. It's just something about the texture and the carbonation of a beer, which I had an NA when I was at Nationals Park, but it makes it really easy for me to not do it because when I do this day trip right there, first off, a $20 beer, if I ever have another drink again, which so far so good for now. It's not going to be it's going to be a quick hitter beer. I'm gonna down the whole thing. I'm not going to savor it. It's going to be let's get after it. We're not just doing this for the taste necessarily, even though I was just describing how good a beer tastes. But there was a feeling we were going for that I don't necessarily want anymore. But if I was to do it, I would probably go pretty hard after it. Now you makes it really easy to not do that when you drove your car and you're by yourself and you're in a different city than you are going to be sleeping in that night, or it turns into where you have a whole nightmare of what are you going to do. That $15 beer turns into a fucking giant enormous expense, and who knows what can happen. So just watch a baseball game, and Citi Field's a great park. I mean, I don't know where I would rank it. It's definitely, I mean, after Nationals Park, it's heaven. But one cool thing with the level I was sitting is that they had the television screens where you could actually, they're on a delay from when you're watching in front of you. But after you watch something, and if you missed something or you weren't sure how close a play was, you can look and see the replay on the actual television broadcast. That's really cool. It's not a great ballpark for kind of navigating around for different vantage points because they do kind of section you off to you have to show credentials for a decent amount of time, but that's also good because you can also keep your space. But it's very rare when a plan that kind of comes, spur of the moment is everything that it's expected to be and everything it should be. And that's what it was for me today. I got to go and see Shohei Ohtani for the first time, one of the greatest baseball players of my lifetime, if not ever. And he did not disappoint. And round and round we go. Thanks everybody for listening to this one. And I will be coming up with next week. We're going to Fenway Park and a little bit more update of our tour. And hey, when we get to maybe 50 subscribers, we're at 36 now. Maybe I ramp this up a little bit more and try and set a time that I can work as maybe my set live stream and get a little more interactive with this one. But anyways, drop a comment, leave a like, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and have a good one.